It isn't earth-shattering, but I was like, Q, can we just figure it out? Hi, welcome to our School Board Commissioner Corner. I want to thank CCTV for hosting always us. I'm here with Senior Project Manager Brian Leet from Freeman French Freeman. Welcome, Brian. Thank you. It's in the 21st century. 6.5 years and 2 bond votes later, our school board is amazed by the progress we have made with all of our community partnerships together, and we're excited that this City of Burlington investment is looking like it's coming to fruition, which it is. We want to share our gratitude and esteemed acknowledgments for our professional partners involved in building this dynamic high school and technical center campus. So on behalf of the BHS students, faculty, and staff, past, present, and future, we wanted to acknowledge Whiting Turner tonight, who is a leader in their industry, and all the subcontractors whose expertise has been and will continue to be instrumental in working with Whiting Turner on this large-scale project. We also wanted to acknowledge the Burlington architectural firms, Freeman French Freeman. Brian is here representing them, and Colin Lindbergh Associates and DRA. These 3 design teams have been true partners in designing every aspect of our future campus. So tonight we'll walk through, and I'll do some more thank yous as we acknowledge some of those aspects of the projects that are being under development now. But I should say first, before we go ahead, EnviroVantage, our demolition team,
in about 4-week segments. So this is where the construction site was at the start of the summer. And you can see the footprint of the building beginning to take shape, but there is no steel yet on site.
Yeah.
That's where we were the last time we talked, I think was just around when the first steel showed up. And as we go to the next image in the lower left, you're going to see the beginnings. So that was the first steel and precast plank installation. Mm-hmm. That portion that we're seeing there is actually the portion that will house the technical center. So the Burlington Technical Center classrooms will be in that portion of the building that was started first, just due to the construction sequencing. And we can start to see, as we go east, the kind of formation of the courtyard. I think many people kind of remember seeing that little eye in the plan, that trapezoid of space on the right-hand side.
Yes.
As we continue through, this is now into June, we're starting to see roof decking going on to some portions. The decision to build this building with steel and precast plank meant that after an awful lot of planning, once we got into construction, it went up very, very quickly. So we're seeing there just above on the left the floor of what will become the gymnasium, and you'll see in the slides going forward, we kind of have a sequence going from left to right of the gymnasium, the commons, and then the auditorium. So this was June. If we look at July, you can see the large trusses on the left side spanning across the gymnasium. You see a little, maybe thick line of trusses about 2/3 of the way over, and that's actually dividing so that we can create our community gym and our main gym. Yeah. So the old Burlington High School had just a main gym. It was always a goal of this project to add one more basketball court's worth of space, and that community gym will not only have a different flooring, so that people can come in out of the cold and walk on it without having to protect a hardwood floor, but a separate entrance directly from the north, so that if we need to, we can actually lock off the remainder of the building and be able to have gatherings, community activities, and whatever it is that the community figures out we need to have here. I don't know, art shows, craft shows, farmers markets, those sorts of exhibitions. In the middle of the space, we're seeing the commons. Now we're seeing kind of the skylight over the commons, and we're also seeing to the right the auditorium. So that kind of wedge of space, you can see through the roof trusses there are the balconies of the auditorium.
Wow.
The way that we are able to put the building together, we build the structure, we go all the way up, and we put the roof on. And then as time happens, we come back in and create the floor, the slabs that are on the ground, especially for complicated spaces. So spaces like the auditorium, where you have slopes and steps for the seating and all that sort of thing. You can now see progress of roofing on the west side of the building, steel deck across the entire project. In the middle, you see the area of the skylight, so that's directly over a multi-story commons space. That means that as students come and go, and faculty, parents, administrators, you're always coming into a space with daylight. Daylight and windows and acoustics were really the messages we heard from the community. They're things that are really missing in the current arrangement, and so wanted to really focus on making sure that with the that little courtyard and that skylight and the kind of perimeter of the building, we have a very compact building, but we have daylight to all the different spaces that people are coming and going. You can also see, I pointed out the concrete before, we have a little bit of some roof areas directly north of that center skylight, and to the right over the auditorium. We actually have some concrete up at the roof level, and that's for acoustics in performing spaces. So that when you have loud noises going overhead or you have rain falling on the roof, it's going to diminish how much that sound radiates down into the space and interrupts the performance.
Who knew?
Trying to think, these things that you can see when you look at the construction as it's happening. Of course, once the building's there, it'll be between the ceiling and the roof, and you'll never see it again.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. So that's kind of an exciting picture, and I think it's a real testament to the work that Whiting Turner is doing to have accelerated this project so that we can go all the way from no steel 5 months ago to having topped off the building a week ago, which means, for people who aren't familiar with that terminology, it means the last major piece of steel has been placed in the building. Everything else we're doing is closing it in and detailing it on the inside. And as we've been joking on the job site, we kind of, now we're expecting people to say, well, you got that done so quickly.
Right.
What's there
inside,
to do? Well, there's a lot to do still.
Oh my gosh, all the plumbing. We met at the raising of the beams, the final beam ceremony, the HVAC team, and the individuals there. HVAC acronym stands for
Heating, ventilation, and air conditioning.
Right, and thinking the miles and miles of piping and venting throughout the span and scope of this campus. What a thrill knowing that our former old BHS and old Burlington Technical Center, we heated it from the roof. The pipes went up on top of the roof, ran across, and the inefficiency of those things that were developed long ago, to no one's fault, but that are outdated, and now to think of the efficiencies we will be saving with this structure. And what we've learned also from being at Macy's and in a space that isn't as sprawled, and the conduciveness of working within a building that somewhat has a circular shape to tie in academic departments to student-centered learning throughout the gymnasium, the auditorium. There aren't a lot of dead ends, so to speak,
Right.
and in the layout of this building. And like you said, those valuable things, daylight, hugely important, an incredible campus on an incredible piece of property with views all over, 360 views, even the Arms Forest in the back is a beautiful view. And to be able to bring light into that center area, absolutely important. But yeah, how great to have drones and the technology that we see, to be able to see it from the top up, because that is a view no one, none of us have seen.
And here's the gorgeous view. Again, a drone shot again from VIS. Immediately after raising that final beam, so many people came and signed it. What a wonderful opportunity for the community.
Yes.
And kind of looking back to the west across the roof.
So that's looking at the Adirondacks. That's west.
That was, a view to the Adirondacks. And that beam does kind of cap a sequence. There's 3 classrooms on the east end of the building, so there will be a view in the opposite direction.
Right.
So we thought the opportunity people don't have is to get into the building and see the construction. So I'm going to spend a little bit of time just giving a little tour and try to talk about some of the exciting elements of this. So these first 2 shots are, of course, approaching the building. What we're seeing now is prefabricated framing for the walls that went up very quickly. It's getting infilled with the sheathing of the building that will eventually be all sealed up to create what we call an air and water barrier. It's one piece of what we call the skin, along with the insulation. It kind of creates this warm wool coat that we think of for the building. And if we can slow down just a little bit, I want to talk just a little bit that shot was also the entry, and we're seeing in that shot the main entry to the high school. Directly above it is the student commons, and directly above that is what we're calling kind of the learning commons, but we would also just call the library. So that is what you will see as you approach. And one of the main staircases to the left, what we call Stair 1, it really connects the main academic levels of the high school as a convenient place for those students who want to immediately go up the stairs.
Great.
And then if we jump now to the next slide, we're actually down the hill a little bit, around the corner, and right in, both to show how quickly construction again is progressing, and also the bit of the entry into the Vermont Technical Center spaces. So it's a little challenging to see in this image, I realize, because you're seeing layers of walls.
But honestly, you wouldn't know what's happening. Like, I thought, honestly, it was still just vacancy inside, but that we wanted to get the exterior walls built. So to even see this progress is impressive, being September of 2024.
Yes, and this is, and as you can see, due to a huge amount of coordination and modeling between the design and construction teams, things like the ductwork, the HVAC system, largely are being prefabricated off-site, brought in. There's actually a warehouse. VHV, a local contractor, has done an enormous amount of planning and literally rented a warehouse where they are fabricating all the ductwork to the model and putting it together. So all of that's coming to site, already measured, figured out, and being placed into the space. And that's allowing us, we have a very efficient system. It's a heat pump based system, a geothermal well system, and it's allowing us to really rapidly move through colleagues in other spaces. So these spring isolators will actually suspend what we call an isolation ceiling and keep all the systems and all the noise in their space from bothering the people
growing up
above.
right.
So
Wow. Very
again,
cool.
The message and commitment to acoustics. It also, we added a lot of liner and ductwork and other steps to really make it so that when you're in these classrooms, you will have, if you close the door and close the windows and want silence, you'll have silence available to you.
Amazing.
Sometimes that's what we need for some regulation and learning.
Yes, true.
So,
well said.
And here's an exciting view from inside of that gymnasium box. So we're seeing the progress of the concrete block walls getting built. We used concrete blocks selectively on this project for areas where we just knew we needed additional durability. Obviously, a gymnasium is one of those places. You can see a band around the perimeter of the top where there's no concrete block. That will actually be a translucent panel. It's a product called Cowwall, or translucent fiberglass panel. So that will allow daylight to diffuse into the space all year round, and it actually it softens and filters it, so you don't get glare. You won't get that like sun in your eyes effect while you're trying to play sports in the gym, but you will see daylight. So on even a cloudy day in Vermont, we shouldn't need to use the lights so much. We can just rely on the daylight mostly during school hours. And then, of course, athletics at night might still need light.
Yeah.
This space is the commons. So when you walk in through the front door and step back and take a look up, you will see this. You can see the opening for a skylight. So again, that skylight will actually have a blend of clear and translucent glass to get some diffuse light, but also we feel it's important to be able to see the sky. So you'll be able to see the sky, see if there's clouds up there. There's actually a clerestory window at the end as well, and this is going to be, I think, a terrific social space. The thing that the high school did learn that it likes having with that no escalator. For anybody, I always get the question, is there going to be there will not be an escalator, but there will be the ability to connect a couple levels and have students take a look at and see like who's here, where's the people I need to connect with or build whatever those bonds are between each other. And all of these public spaces are set up so that there's always one nearby.
I remember those plans, and as well as, the evolution of the staircase going up. We reduced it from the width to where seating to make it more user-friendly to go straight up, so that the goal is if you need to get to class, that is your primary access upstairs, and appreciated everyone's feedback on what that entry-level welcome feeling and design was.
And we also took the opportunity at the main level where you do enter to expand the kind of built-in opportunities to seat around the perimeter with different kind of nooks and places where no matter your mobility or your desire to either be kind of by yourself or maybe in a group, there's going to be different spots where students can sit around the perimeter of the space. I'm super excited for the auditorium. This is actually a pretty unique view from the corner of what will be the stage. So we're looking all the way up into the fly of the space, 49 feet, 11 inches tall.
Wow.
You're seeing what looks like a skylight in the corner is actually a smoke vent opening, so there's some life safety elements here. And in between those angled braces in front of you, you see kind of a crossbar. That is the opening of what the stage would be. You'd be looking out into the audience from this standpoint.
Wow. So exciting.
Yeah, it's going to be, and then this is the reverse view from the control room all the way up on the third level. So now you're kind of up in the rafters. We don't quite have the catwalk in yet, so you can't see the lighting catwalk, but you can see looking down at the stage, one level below are those two angled balcony wings. Directly below you here would be the balcony seating, and then the gravel that you're seeing down below is the beginning of grading in that slope for the seating. We're expecting the auditorium to seat in the range of 750 seats. We're still, there's a lot of nuance to seating counts, but most of it will be on that main level in that center section.
Yeah, fantastic.
And then here is a view looking back from the library, kind of the circulation desk at the library looking south across the fields. It was, as you can see, a day we're familiar with in Vermont, a little bit gray, a little bit rainy, but still some fabulous light coming into the space. And you can start to see how the big angled elements that you see outside of this space really serve to create. It's a little hard with the perspective here, but it's opening that up, and you can.
Without a doubt, the goal, I remember, student feedback and faculty feedback was, to be able to see what's happening as a campus as a whole. What's happening out on the fields, what's happening down below the entrance, and also that warmth space of our library and our learning center. It is the hub. Besides the the welcoming lobby, the library welcomes all learners and tech centers.
And this view gives you, again, that that's walking to the front of the library. So you've seen that beautiful glass wall.
Yeah.
Of course, this will be a glass wall immediately to the left of where this picture is taken, looking out, starting to look towards the west. I think we were trying to see, the trees are just tall enough going down the hill. And so, maybe when they lose their leaves, you'll see a little bit of the Adirondacks there, but you certainly have an amazing view down over the sports facilities and the entry road. You can, that path that is worn in the construction site is approximately the location of the drop-off drive in front of the school. So, and then coming around, talking about bringing daylight into all the spaces and having a little bit of a courtyard. So this courtyard is really here mostly to allow all these spaces that surround it to have their own natural daylight. Again, taking the lesson you talked about with bringing students to a more compact building, getting them together. We have that common space where students can meet and gather. We also have some smaller study and breakout kind of zones around that courtyard, but then bringing daylight back into the middle of it so that you're always near a window and not just...
On October 4th, acknowledging all those that signed the beam over the course of the month. We had opened it up from Monday through Friday, 9 to 4. Come sign the beam. There's the beam being raised up and put into place. The ceremonial maple tree on the top and the American flag was a tradition that they shared with us that we would do, and that we will plant the maple tree somewhere on the campus once the outside is prepared for landscaping. But we had faculty, staff. We didn't have all our faculty, and I wanted to do a shout out to Burlington Technical Center and BHS staff, faculty and staff, because it was the school day. This was a ceremony acknowledging and thanking the construction teams that were a part of getting us to this place before winter falls and we're able to work inside. So we had it during the school day, but anything going forward, we talked about whether the construction crews start at 6 a.m. and end at 2, 3 in the afternoon. We will provide an opportunity to faculty and staff. Of course, the ribbon cutting ceremony, things where we want our whole school and faculty and staff to be a part of those ceremonial milestones. So I wanted to explain that just to say, we did it midday so that we captured and thanked all the construction workers on site. The mayor spoke, Superintendent Flanagan gave a wonderful speech, and I spoke with a student from BHS, 2 students from BHS, and one also that attends the tech center. They shared their gratitude for our partners. So in closing, I did want to acknowledge the other partners that have had an instrumental role that I hadn't mentioned yet. Marty Spalding's firm, PCI, Capital Projects Consultants, also the project consultants White and Burke and Fussin O'Neill, whose ongoing support have all been invaluable.
Temperature control standpoint, they're already closed in at some portions of the building, and we will start to see some portions of the building, and we will start to see windows showing up and glass installed on site probably in the month of December, maybe January, but so the work you'll see on the outside of the building, the visible stuff, will be pretty active through about February. They'll continue to put windows on the building. It most likely will wait until the weather warms back up to put the masonry up. So there's a lot of brick work that has to happen. We have a lot of mason work that can happen inside the building still with the gymnasium box. The auditorium is also all concrete block for sound deadening. There's some elevator work. And so that's what will happen outside. At the same time, we already saw those images. They're framing up walls, they're hanging ductwork, they're hanging all sorts of systems. And so that inside work, that's going to take us into the beginning of 2026. That's why we're saying, buildings coming 2026. So that will be ongoing right through.
And we totally understand that. Well, you have how many, if you were to say, guesstimating the number of design sheets, pages?
I looked at it recently. The drawing set is about 770 pages, and we have updated some of them many times. And then we have what we call a written specification that looks like a 3-ring binder book. It's about 2,200 pages.
Brian, I can't thank you enough, and Freeman French Freeman and your whole team, for putting what was on paper to life. What we've seen just in these last 6 months is truly exciting, and I can't thank you enough. I think we'll see you back here in 6 months, hopefully.
I hope so, and we're so thankful, all of us on the job, for the opportunity. The city's put a great deal of trust in us, and we recognize that, and everybody on the team is working every day to live up to that.
Well, thank you. Well, on behalf of the Burlington School Board, all roads do lead to BHS. We're made up of 6 elementary schools, our 2 middle schools. All of our students are super excited. We're still on that project timeline of fall of 2026 with the first entering class, who are seniors right now. First graduating class will be the seniors that are at downtown BHS now. But we are just so excited and want to continue to update the public on the progress we've made. So on behalf of Brian and myself and all the Burlington School Board, we want to thank you for tuning in today, and we'll share this link so people can see the amazing images that we had from the drones and from our partners that are working on this major city investment. So thank you so much.